Organizations win championships. A Chicago Bulls podcast with Jason and Dan Bernstein on 312 Sports.
OWC is live here on YouTube as the Bulls are finishing up, finalizing, however you want to put it, their agreement to hire Tiago Splitter.
There we go.
Brand new head coach. And you have never stopped mentioning his name from the moment it became a possibility. I know you're smiling right now, but you never made sort of a full-fledged case for him. But I know that this warms the cockles of your heart.
It does. Okay. But he took a team whose head coach was fired for gambling, and he got in all sorts of trouble for that. Steps into a situation with a talented roster, but nothing special, and wills their way into the playoffs, beating Phoenix on the road to pick up the 7th seed. They did eventually lose to San Antonio, but they did steal a game in there. And it seems like he got a lot out of his players. Avdia had by a mile his best season yet. Tumani Kamara is really good. It does help to have a veteran presence like Drew Holiday in that locker room for sure, especially with such a young team. But it's exciting. It's exciting. It's going to be fun. And with the draft, 10 days away? Something like that. I'll be home. Oh, my God. Yeah, come home in less than a week. So exciting times as a Bulls fan. And I just wonder who Splitter likes in this draft. And, let's roll. Let's go.
Well, so according to Shams Charania, the finalists, the 4 finalists that met with Bryson Graham and his staff were Splitter, Micah Nori from the Timberwolves, Atlanta Hawks assistant Ryan Schmidt, and current Bulls assistant Wes Unseld Jr. So the Bulls conducted a thorough search that spanned double-digit candidates before narrowing the process. They landed on Splitter due to his ability to lead the team's player development, organizational alignment on the franchise's direction and vision, and his leadership and knowledge base as a coach rising through the ranks since 2018, as well as a 7-year NBA player with a championship with the Spurs.
Yep.
He was the number 28 pick in the 2007 NBA draft, played for San Antonio, Atlanta, and Philadelphia. He was a scout with the Nets. He was also on the player development staff. In 23-24, he was an assistant for the Houston Rockets under Ime Udoka. Took a head coaching job with Paris basketball for the 24-25 EuroLeague campaign before coming back as Billups' lead assistant in Portland. So that's interesting, the reasoning given there. Player development, organizational alignment on the franchise's direction and vision. So this is a
You forgot one thing. You forgot one thing. He also got yammed on by LeBron.
Yes.
So
yes, he did.
We just have to put that there.
Of course.
That man is still playing, supposedly. We'll see what happens this offseason.
Well, it's, to me, this is a grow with, and this is largely a leap of faith based on a very small sample of NBA head coaching. But the facts are impressive. In the final 51 regular season games, they were a top 10 defense. They were 30-21. Portland led the NBA in second chance points per game.
Yeah. Who else did they have on that roster? I'm just trying to think.
Well,
Robert Williams was there, I believe.
Time Lord? Yeah. I think the key being the rise of Denny Avdia.
Yeah. I mean, stud.
Under his tutelage.
Yeah. People forget that Denny Avdia is 6'10". So, I don't know. The thing about Avdia is that he's always been a big guy. So, I wonder what Splitter thinks of Matas in that sort of sense, because they do have relatively similar skill sets. And maybe he can get the most out of him. Who knows if he likes him, but it's hard not to like a guy like Matas, in my opinion. So, well, I'm just excited to see what happens. It's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, Klingon's the reason why they got so many offensive rebounds.
Well, let's not forget the improvement in play in Scoot Henderson.
Yeah. Very
and
much so.
and Shaden Sharp is another player who got better under him. So this is a developmental commitment for the first time in a long. Not to say that Billy Donovan wasn't able or willing to develop, but this is purely that. And he's what, a year older than the general manager, or the executive VP, I should say, Bryson Graham. And the Bulls are making a commitment. This sounds like a long-term developmental commitment that's going
Good.
here as they reach
Good.
what they're doing. It's probably good for Noah Sangay.
Yeah. Good for Matas,
I want to know
potentially
what
for
he feels
Giddey as
about
well.
Giddey. Like that, the one thing that's really kind of looming here is, what has he seen of Josh Giddey? What does he think about a team having that skill set as a point guard? Well, or whether or not Giddey's going to be here when the team is good again. I don't know.
Right. Because you mentioned the fact about their defense and how stout they were, especially toward the end of the season. So Giddey is not so stout on that end of the floor.
You're being very kind.
I am being very kind. But he is a talented offensive player. He is long. He could provide a little bit more effort defensively, even if he sucks, you know? So I'm just excited that they went with Splitter because of last season, and we've seen Mike Nori in a head coaching role in the playoffs, and he did a good job. But I don't know. I like that Splitter played under Popovich. He was with Ime Udoka, who also is a Pop guy, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody from that coaching tree, I feel like you can trust. And I think Mike Brown was there as well. And I know for Mitch Johnson was as well, even though his series was horrid. He had a very bad series.
I just finished up recording DBU saying exactly that.
Man.
And I think that we're going to get to that on Wednesday, that we're going to have some time to flesh that out. And by that time on Wednesday, I know I will have heard some more things about Tiago Splitter. Jim Cowley is reporting now that he says it sounds like it came down to Micah Nori and Tiago Splitter. Nori is also in the mix for Dallas. And with the Portland job officially vacant, the Sun-Times reported they were offering the job to several coaches last week. New Blazers ownership makes it an unattractive spot. I don't know why the new Blazers, they're trying to cut costs, that apparently they don't want to pay market value for coaches or staff.
Yeah.
They've been firing people right and left.
I really don't know why after this past season they wouldn't bring him back. I mean, thank you. Kind of fell into our lap here, but
that's the word a lot of people are using now, is that the Bulls stole Tiago Splitter away.
Wow.
What I want to know is, with Wes Unseld Jr. finishing as a runner-up in the head coaching race, does he stick around?
That's a good call as well. And something I also want to note is that, do you think Splitter was looking at Portland's pick that is now with the Bulls, looking in that area for players? Scouting wise, maybe he also has a really good idea, or his own ideas of who he wants in that, range, because if they would have had it, it would have been 12, 13, or 14. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. So he comes into a situation now where the 4th overall pick has kind of fallen into his lap. He's with a bigger organization, and the opportunity to build something completely new. He has every right and every opportunity to say, I don't like this player, or I really like this player.
It's
and
great.
Do whatever the hell he wants.
That's what this team needs.
Right. I think that he and Graham, I hate to keep comparing. I don't hate to do this, but I'm going to compare them to the Bears again, with the way that I've seen Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson interact, especially in those videos of the draft room. It just seems very back and forth, and not just, I'm going to pick this guy, you have no say. So maybe I know that Billy had a good relationship with AK, but you never heard AK talk, and you never knew what he was thinking. And Bryson Graham has already made more of an impression publicly and vocally about his vision for the team and how excited he is to have the 4th overall pick. And I just hope that I just want to see communication between them and also with the viewer, with the fan. I think that's really important as well.
I think that the construction of the staff now becomes critical, and who are the front bench guys, who are the back bench guys, and how are they going to manage some of the developmental assignments if indeed this roster is going to be young and raw, and they assemble, with these draft picks, if they assemble groups of traits rather
Mhm.
than necessarily experiences or positions or figuring out who plays where over time, you're going to need some more veteran presence there. Although it's not like Splitter is without experience, and I do think for
So,
a Brazilian guy to go to Paris, and they won the French Cup. And this, I'm looking at some of the stuff that Casey Johnson is tweeting here, saying Splitter led Paris basketball to the French Cup, the LNB Elite title, and a EuroLeague playoff berth as their head coach.
hmm,
So for this guy to go to France and lead the team from Paris to
win.
that kind of success. I believe his English is excellent. I'm not really concerned about any kind of language barrier here or
Okay.
working with the media. I haven't heard him talk a lot, but
We'll see.
I love the leap of faith. I love
Yep.
the commitment to an idea, to a philosophy of development where it isn't just an easy name. It's not necessarily we just want to win the press conference and we can tout some sort of long resume here. That
Agreed.
it feels fresh.
Yeah. And something I also want to mention, when you were talking about development and looking at the pieces currently on the roster or not, Tumani Kamara with the Blazers was a second round pick, and so was Leonard Miller. And
Ooh,
I
yep,
I
yep.
I just I don't know if Leonard Miller has that sort of defensive ability. I don't, but my mind immediately went there, saying, "Oh, do you think can Tiago Splitter turn Leonard Miller into Tumani Kamara? Because that would be a valuable asset because he does have a lot of traits, he has a lot of tools, and he works really hard. So I'm really excited to see what's going on.
A note from former guest of OWC, Ricky O'Donnell, who says, my only issue with him as Blazers coach is I don't think they played fast or aggressively enough defensively given their personnel. They were 21st in seconds per possession after a defensive rebound, 23rd after a turnover. Says it's a small gripe. I have an open mind about the hire mostly. Yeah, a good coach.
And to counter that, it was his first season as a head coach where he was the interim. He was thrown into that situation. So I'm going to give him a little bit of grace there. So if that's the one complaint that's coming out of this, I feel like it sounds to me like people appreciate this hire and think it was the right move. If that's it.
I'm very curious to see if they retain Wes Unseld Jr. I would like them to. I don't know if this is going to give him an opportunity to get back in the big chair somewhere else, but if they do put together a staff that can counterbalance some of the overall lack of head coaching experience, sounds awesome to me. There's nothing about this that does anything to derail my sense of freshness, of novelty, of a reinforcement of the Bulls as a new experience. And I'm glad we have to keep reminding ourselves that just because we think a certain thing of players based on whatever the rotation was, whatever the minutes were, it's all out the window right now. We could get to that season opener and Noah Asenge could be a starting player with a high usage rate. We don't know.
And that's fine. Let all the options be on the table here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have no expectations for what the team is going to look like, nor should we. And so whatever it is, give it a fair shot. That's the thing. You have to we have to give it a fair shot, and we can't gripe. He's like, Matas isn't playing enough. What is Splitter doing? He has every right to experiment and toy around with this lineup because he also probably doesn't know what's absolutely best right now when it comes to lineups. And we don't know what the lineup is going to look like.
I would like him to coach the summer league team. I know usually you don't do that. And generally it is somebody who is, you're going to throw somebody a bone and say, hey, burnish your resume a little bit here. I don't think I would do that here. I would think I would get him in, get the draft done, and let him hit the ground running with some actual coaching.
Because there are going to be 4 or 5 players playing in the summer league that are going to matter.
Yep, there are.
Esenge, number 1, right? Whoever they draft, 4th, 15th, 38th, and potentially maybe they like the guy they draft 56th or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Those are 5 pieces or 4 pieces that you get to coach that you took, that you have a say in. And so I think that's a really good idea. And it does give you a look at Esenge. And he might not have too many fond memories of the summer league, but after what happened.
No, that was a poster that was
Johnny Furphy.
Yeah, not good. Johnny Furphy. Yeah,
oh God,
put it on him.
Yeah, that was brutal.
But there's throw him in and let him start doing absolutely everything. He's got the energy for it. I understand why somebody like Billy Donovan would say, "Oh, let somebody else go coach the summer league team and do that." But this is not nothing. You can't say that there's something that doesn't really matter now when you're the Bulls, and maybe taking some of those opportunities a little more seriously in alignment with your development. And I thought that was going to happen in the previous regime. And when I'm talking about alignment, the Windy City Bulls become really, really important here. And I thought they were going to be better at it. I thought this is another thing about a young and developing team. If you are a Windy City fan, or if you are looking for a chance to see some material players in pro basketball, it isn't just a little holding area for tweeners and old vets. Use that team. Use it to really develop. And even though they said they were going to do that, they didn't. They didn't do it in a way that I wanted them to do it. And it can be used better. Now's the time to start.
Agreed. And when you look at what's happened with the G League, Isaiah Hartenstein was in the G League for a while before he really made a name for himself. Caruso, Siakam. There are a lot of dudes that were in the G League for a substantial period of time that have now really carved out roles for themselves in the NBA. And there are definitely a lot more that I'm missing there. And as we've said previously, you treat it as if it's your AAA baseball team. Use it like a minor league system.
Or more,
I don't mind
more
if
like your double
players,
A. More like your double A minor league baseball team. Yeah.
I don't mind if you're sending players down if they're playing like shit. Okay, fine. He's in a slump. Get him down there. Let him get his confidence back up. Bring him back up.
Mm-hmm.
Or if there's a G League guy that's on fire that you might want to get a second look at, sign him for a 10-day. I don't think it should be you stick with the same roster all year. When you have that, use it. And I know that only the guys that are two-ways are under contract with the actual Chicago Bulls.
Right.
But that's why I'm saying if somebody is playing hella well right now, and I don't care who it is, some 22-year-old that went undrafted that nobody really got a good look at, but he's really explosive and could do something, give him a look. They shouldn't be that good next year, but they should be exciting, and they should go down every avenue they can and see as many possibilities as they can.
I want to go back to a quote that Bryson Graham gave us about a month ago. He said, in terms of what we're looking for someone who is smart. We're looking for someone that can lead and someone that has really high character. We also want someone who, when I say smart, they're good on both sides of the ball. A lot of times now you have coaches that lean toward offense. They lean toward defense, and that's fine. But we're going to try and find the coach that can coach both sides of the ball and care about both sides of the ball, and then develop these guys as they're obviously young in their careers. Mm-hmm. And what this is, I think, is very, very consistent with what Bryson Graham has said about not skipping steps, about understanding that they'll know when this thing is ready. And I think the bet is that Tiago Splitter will be ready with them. That there
Agreed.
used to be it's not a point A to point B thing. It's not, well, we need a developmental coach and then we bring in the big rainmaker. I don't think teams want to do that anymore. I really don't. I think it's an outdated model, and I think what they want is for it can. I'm not saying it won't. It did, and huge credit to Mike Brown, by the way, who now has people wondering, gee, maybe Sacramento's the problem. Maybe everything else that's going on there is kind of the problem, and not this guy. Well,
De'Aaron Fox was the problem as well, and he came from Sacramento.
Dude. And his contract doesn't even start until next year. The max, a $228 million 4-year, that's an issue.
That's an issue.
He was brutal.
That's kind of like a Zach LaVine type thing that they got going on now.
It might be tougher. Well,
they'll be okay. Though.
I think they'll be fine, and I think that Wemby experiencing that, look out, rest of the league.
Harper as well.
I know we're going to get to this on Wednesday, but I thought if this Spurs team and this Knicks team meet in 10 7-game series, the Spurs win 9 of them. I think this was the one.
Might have been, yeah. And they had it every single game. They had it, and they just choked.
Yeah, they had 10-point leads in every game, including a 29-point lead, and they led 74% of the minutes. They led 74% of the minutes. Anyway, that's going to be for Wednesday. I think that's it for today. So I would just say, conditionally, thumbs up, because they followed through in their reasoning. Everything they said they were looking for, they seem to have gotten. And what I hope we take from this is that what's the owner's name in Portland? Tom Dundon, is that the guy's name? Who just want cut costs. I hope
Ricketts,
that this is looked at as a major ownership folly. Ultimately, I hope when all is said and done, if there are parades and success, that Blazers fans look around and say, we had this guy. We had him.
So you're rooting for Blazers fans' demise.
I'm not demise. I'm rooting for their misery. I'm rooting for them to be really unhappy with their ownership for letting this guy walk out the door.
Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to seeing his press conference as well, whenever that may be, just to hear him talk and see not only Bryson's reason for hiring him, but I want to see why Splitter found this job to be really appealing and exciting, and I want to know why he felt like he wanted this job. So,
all right, go get your dinner, because it's after dinner time in Stockholm. So we'll talk again Wednesday, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, that will do it for us. Thanks for joining us in this very special edition of Organizations Win Championships, a Chicago Bulls podcast. Matt Abaticola producing today here on 312 Sports.
Organizations Win Championships, a Chicago Bulls podcast with Jason and Dan Bernstein on 312 Sports.